I recorded this some weeks ago, and I had planned to get this out to you back in February, but you may need to turn the volume up. And I titled this, Don't Mess with This Zorhan. And here's my disclaimer.
I can only share information which I have received from various sources that I believe to be possibly true, or already true. Some things are true already. I had a previous disclaimer, which I had somewhere previously, for my said handle on Rumble, which is also named Shelley Love 1. So this is my statement and statement for my statements as follows. Some for education purposes to inform what I thought needed to be informed as follows.
Hi, it's me again, and I had to do a video. I felt the need to do this video before I go to bed. I had a previous video on this Mandowny fella, but I thought about this movie. I thought about this Don't Mess with the Zorhan. And then people didn't want us, obviously, to mess with the Zorhan. And then there was this movie. And then I'm just still thinking about it. I'm saying, people decided to vote for a guy named after a character in a movie. In this, we were like, we are watching a movie. But, and obviously, in my opinion, there was a rigging of the election because that other guy, which obviously cared about the New Yorkers, it was that group that protect the people anyway. Somebody comment, but what's they call it? The angels, the different people that different neighborhood watch, these guys that walk the street, protect the people. But then I was like thinking, and people have already doxed the guy already, not necessarily doxed, but I saw a video people shared about people going outside of where like the mayor's mansion and where he lived, and was saying about Zorhan and all the stuff that piled up and all the trash, and then they got rid of the trash, and then there's a pile of crap on the ground and all kinds of things that, about these raising the taxes and videos about him talking about raising the property taxes. And I really, if Mandani is really his name, and then the picture of show like his mother was tied to Epstein, or like he was, well, some people say that it was like a video wasn't real, but the emails related to that it was real, some stuff with her. But regardless, whether he was connected or not connected, I'm thinking they put him out there, and then, he was funded by special interests and his identity. And I got one coming about my governor, Wes Moore, which, I didn't vote for. I voted for the other Republican, which wasn't Larry Hogan. But I'm going to get into this. I'm going to mention this. And then for all the New Yorkers and all the people who wondering what's going on, their videos, and I can put something in the description about it. And I'm like, we told you he was Muslim, and I heard he didn't even swear in on the regular Bible. He was sworn in on the Quran. And after all this with the New York, and and people are just, it's crazy how people believe Democrats when they offer stuff, but when a Republican, like Trump offered a whole lot of stuff, And then people are seeing the things about the things related to the tips and things like that, and the overtime. Because my job sent something, to me about the related to the putting with taxes or whatever the case may be. But that's not what this is about. But people are talking about, situations. And a lady I saw online, a black lady was talking about how her, she had a bigger return, and it came back fast. Now, I did something about. I have another video about related to the taxation and stuff like that. But I will say this. Now, New York is gonna deal with whatever to deal with before, the investigation, because any governor or whatever the case may be that is like anti-American or whatever the case may be. And see, we know Mandani and was anti-American, and you voted, and people voted for a communist Muslim. But then there were Christians people who are supposed to be following Jesus, about following Christ or whatever the case may be, voted for him and not really thinking really hard on it. Like, do you really want to vote for somebody who believes that goes against your biblical beliefs? Because he's gonna push the things that are against Christ. If for all of the people who say they follow Christ or with Christ, and you're not, but that has nothing, that's just other things like that. But when you get to what the guy talking about raising taxes and stuff like that, that's going to affect y'all. And then you can be complaining like the people in Chicago complaining about Illinois and how their taxes got increased. But people have to learn. And I'm just looking for intervention in New York because of Mandani, because some of these different corrupt leaderships, governors and mayors that people think that are just doing what they want to do. Like, whatever their case may be. I have another one about mine. But this Mandani, and I'll explain this about the movie, Don't Mess with the Zorhan. And I was like, you decided to vote for the Zorhan. And if people ever watch the movie, it's for mature audiences, because the guy and Adam Sandler starred Adam Sandler, and Don't Mess with the Zorhan is he was like a beautician, but he was I would say he's like a male gigolo, if you're saying, or just some guy that was promiscuous. I just say that like that. And the woman would come, they get the, go to the salon, get the hair done, and then they take them in the back, and, But then he was also a superhero, like a superhero that, came against stuff, and him and the neighborhood was a superhero. And obviously some people were adjoining that to, without the promiscuous side. They say, Mandani, the Zorhan, don't mess with the Zorhan, will do such good things like the Zorhan, the movie, like Adam Sandler. He's not Adam Sandler, and Adam Sandler We didn't know what faith he was following or whatever. Well, we know what Madani was following. But, I have a guy that I had started, watching on, having to watch, calls the people with the squiggly letters. So New York let the guy with the squiggly letters. It's a nice, soft way of saying the faith of, the faith with, different people. But this guy, they obviously didn't want people to mess with the Zorhan, because he was the Zorhan, like the Zorhan. Don't mess with the Zorhan. And people are beginning to find out, and I just hopefully that something is done, and heard things about that, because these governors, these mayors, they think that the current administration is going to let everything slide. Now, they let them think they won back in 2020. Some people are saying, "Oh, God allowed it, God allowed it," and I just want to say so badly to the people that say, "Oh, God allowed it, God allowed it." I want to say so bad to it. Trump knew he won because there were people monitoring elections, and if anything was wrong with the election with the Mandani, whatever people were involved, they're not gonna get well. Now, that thing that happened with Prince Andrew, who was also on the Epstein list, I'm just, he's just, and they went across. People went across the pond, and that's just across the pond, let alone in America. And it's just, his arrest was just to show people that just because and they were kind of lenient over there, and they let stuff slide over there. Whatever happened to him, folks don't think that, oh, he coming after everybody. They'll go across the pond, they go across in Mandani and New York, and see in America, they can just, let the general public think that you're still alive. Some of the politicians that they think are still alive, some of the people that they think are still alive, former presidents, think that they're still with us or still with us. I find out that they're deceased or they were gone and they're replaced with a body double, and the general public still thinks they're alive. And I said in another video, especially with the one with the animals and stuff like that, or what they had the meme with the. Some of these people are not with us. Allegedly, I had to say allegedly. And I just, I don't know. It's just this Mandani guy. And I said, like, they don't want us. They didn't want us to mess with the Zorhan. And I just keep thinking about that movie that I shouldn't watch again because, it's just, some of it's just nasty. I just shouldn't watch it again, ever watch. Oh, boy. I shouldn't watch it. And by all means, the New Yorkers from across America need to just pray about him. And that's what you gotta do. You gotta pray about it. And people gotta pray, because that's important. And if you don't just pray, just vote. And don't be voting for these people, like these communists. And that Mandani, that Zorhan, that one they didn't want us to mess with the Zorhan. I'm gonna leave that there. I just had to just listen to my insert at the back to checking this like, share, and subscribe. I don't know. It's just they can replace him though. They can go in and they can remove Mandani and replace him, because they have done that with some people. Unfortunately, the people that they have replaced have been replaced. They have body doubles that are trying to keep up their evil scheme. All this, like Bill Gates. I heard he was been gone. Him, and anyway, the body double trying to continue the evil. There's quite a bit of body doubles, and a lot of quite a bit of trans people too. Like a lot of trans that people think are women that are really men biologically. I'm just gonna leave that there. I said a lot. I just leave you with my insert at the end. Bye.
Don't forget to check in description for links and my correspondence if I put it there. Sometimes I put a link or more to other content creators' videos that explain in their videos more than I could.